Where can you go? How many Marvel movies can you make? At some point, we got to get innovative with this.
Yeah, these are the sort of things I constantly hear sometimes if people dislike or, shit on the Marvel movies or in general just comic book movies. I mean, come on, guys. Let's try to think why these movies could be so much more than just cash grabs or any other generic superhero movie. Obviously, we need to start at the beginning, so we need to talk about the golden age of comics, which is 1938, which is a release year, I guess, from Superman, and that ran all the way till the 60s or 70s, I don't know, but that's when the comics, started to grow bigger, and yeah, you had Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and stuff like that. But anyway, let's watch a clip, because I think this might be very useful if somebody, like a comic book expert, could explain this more and more detailed, I guess.
It's ruining our kids, and they're going to become ghouls, vampires, and murderers, which is a lot of nonsense.
These comic book covers that you are seeing here are a sample of what the children of the United States are reading today. 20 million copies of these comic books are pouring off the presses every single month. They're getting into the hands of children, and their contents match the covers. They are full of crime, terror, and horror.
They were attacking Superman back in the 30s and 40s because some kid might think he could fly and jump off the roof. They came up with more damn reasons to attack comics over the years. It's really kind of ludicrous when you look back.
Yeah, I know, I went very stylish on my research here, but this is the truth, because, comics were a bit hated in the past, I guess, in the 50s, 60s, whatever, because, people thought comic books should or could ruin our children or their children, whatever, man. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever, that thing happened, and obviously somehow there was a comic book authority. That's like a rule that a comic book needs to be applied, because it can't have like special things like blood and monsters and stuff like that. Anyway, it's an entire other rule, but that you can kind of compare that with this situation over here, because there are a lot of people, mainly like artists, right? Like people who are still not prefer comic book movies because, oh my god, superhero movies, that's full of like computer generated images and they can't make up a story and blah blah blah. Like, bro, dudes, no. I'm in a art school, right? And, let's just say, especially like, I'm not quite sure if it's only like Belgium or something, but, the people here are still very old school, right? Which is totally alright, because, they show us like Akira Kurosawa films, Sergio Leone films, right? That's epic, that's really cool. But, when they talk about something that is bad, it's mainly going to be a Marvel movie, man, and that sucks ass. I had a conversation with a girl from my class, and yes, I am cool, because I can talk to girls anyway, sorry. So, we were... No, but all jokes aside, we were really talking about, like, how many times are they going to shit on Marvel movies? Come on, like, we heard things about, like, Marvel movies won't end. It's always going to be, like, an entire, like, gash crap nonetheless. Like, bro, what the hell? Like, the music is, like, really bad. The scenes, like, some directors just don't have inspiration. Like, dude, like, whatever, man. I don't get it, but anyway. But today I want to prove you wrong, because there are actually very good comic book movies, man. There are quite a few actually. So obviously, you have those movies where you probably think, oh man, another superhero movie, dude, come on. Like, we had like the best comic book movie ever, Morbius, like, oh my days, that's like the best movie ever made, obviously. We had like, obviously, like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that wasn't well received. As well as like Shazam 2, right? And to be honest, like, some people don't really like the comic book movies because they're getting too big and there are too many of them, and that might be true, but obviously with a few stories you can actually tell that in 1 or 2 or 3 movies, and that's it. Like, there are no other stories, other movies that you need to watch for that movie. Big game changes obviously are Avengers 1, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, but obviously I won't count these because you actually need to watch every single movie till that point to understand every character, every story, and stuff like that, you know. So I won't be counting these, but they're still great movies. So let's talk about other great comic book movies. We'll stick with Marvel, and we'll talk about one of the most important, the most probably, you know, the most famous movie that I talk about like everywhere, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy, man. Dude, I absolutely love these movies. So I guess the director James Gunn has you know, a vision in his head. This man knows his stories. This man knows how the world of Marvel is built, right? He knows how these characters will think. They won't do like a 360 flip above like a gigantic CGI, you know, monster or something. I don't know, because you know, these are just people who are trying to connect with each other, and they're trying to form a family, right? They're trying to stay together, and they're fighting evil in the universe, right? So that's a great thing, because the director knows what these characters are going to be, will be, and where, I guess. So that's great. And his music choices are fantastic. I mean, obviously the human in this movie, which is Star-Lord, Peter Quill, has a music taste which is incredible. This man is legendary and obviously my favorite director, but I'll talk about him in just a tick, because we need to talk about other Marvel movies that are just pure perfection. We can't talk about the pure perfect ending, and that's obviously from Logan. I mean, Logan has one of the best endings and, you know, the best movies from the entire X-Men Fox universe, right? It's about Wolverine dying, which is like impossible, because Wolverine can't die because he has a regeneration ability where he grows back his muscles and stuff like that. But this time he dies. This is apocalyptic future, right? Where the mutants are kind of dying off, right? And yeah, Wolverine has some problems with his healing factor, and it doesn't work quite well. His claws don't really work as well too. This is a very serious movie. This has like none till a few jokes, right? But this movie is serious but also emotional. That's obviously really cool, because you know, this isn't like any other like Marvel movie where, you know, where they have computer generated like aliens or monsters or whatever. This is about old man Logan dying, and that's like a perfect comic too. Obviously there are other great Marvel movies, but the last one I want to talk about is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is actually made by Sony Pictures, right? This is an animated movie, and yes, even animated movies could be and can be epic and awesome, man. This is an animated movie, right? And some people still think animated movies are for kids, but that's not true, and that's probably why so many young adults and, you know, grown-ups watch Spider-Man No Way Home, because, you know, that's not animated. But anyway, doesn't matter. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse won Best Animated Feature back in 2018 or 19 or something. And you think about how far animation has come. Like this movie is beyond fantastic. I mean, the animation is pure perfection, and there are like little scenes where Miles jumps off a roof and you see like reflections. It's so beautiful, man. It's beautiful. And the second movie also looks beautiful. I think by the time you're watching this video, it might already be released, so that's great. Let's talk about DC movies, right? Obviously, there are the original Superman and Batman movies, right? These are all fantastic. Obviously, the Dark Knight trilogy, absolutely cool as well. And I can't forget about the Batman movie. This is one of the best detective movies I've ever seen. And, you know, the music is epic. But now let's talk about a movie that not a lot of people will know, and that's Watchmen. Watchmen is directed by Zack Snyder, who also did the Justice League movie, or well, the 4-hour version at least. I watched this movie because it was on Netflix a couple of years ago, and holy shit, it really took me into the story. I bought a comic in the span of those years, and also found the Blu-ray version that I actually bought too. Zack Snyder also knows his stuff. He is also a big comic book fan, right? And I think, you know, in Watchmen you have brilliant song choices, and yeah, man, this is also a fantastic piece of art. You know, it's also about like a group who form a team, right? But, you know, it's not like the Avengers or something. It's so different, and it's really underrated. There's also a TV show on HBO or like on DVD or whatever, but you know, why should I watch the TV show when I already like the movie, right? So yeah, there we go. Then we'll go back to this lad, because this man also directed The Suicide Squad, one of my favorite comic book movies, because, you know, it's really Suicide Squad, man. It is literally in the title. So there we go. And obviously the first movie was absolute fucking trash. But this man regenerated this movie, this I guess movie franchise or whatever, and made it so much better. He also got selected to be the producer of the DC universe now, so he can make whatever he wants. He has a fantastic slate of new projects with the DC universe, right? We have new shows and new films, and this man is going to produce all of them. And I can't wait, man. This is an absolute legend. I love that man so much. It's just sad that there is a small misconception about Marvel, DC, comic book movies. There are at least a few movies that those haters or people who don't like them might like. Anyhow, there's a certain art to comic book movies. Either if it's like, a mature movie or just a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, whatever, man. It's pure perfection, but I just don't like people who say, superhero or comic book movies suck because, whatever, for so many reasons. But, just watch it, man. Just form your own opinion, and that's what matters after all. Don't listen to anyone and form your own opinion. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you later. That's a positive ending. There we go. Goodbye, everyone.